Okay folks, I've got the frame down where it needs to be on the rear end. I've cut out a lot. I'm going to have to do some reinforcing and stuff like that, but that's not a problem. We'll do that when we get it back into the shop. But I got to get the body where where it needs to be, and the rear end mounted enough to where I can move it. The front, we are going to lower the front. The problem is I got to get the back where it needs to be before I can get an idea of where to put the front, or as far as I know, we're going to lower it, make it look a lot better. But the body's got to come down about another 4 or 5 inches onto the frame, but I've got to cut into the rear body for the wheel wells, and so we're going to do that now. And I think I'm just going to mark it with a divider, go around it, and then just cut into it, and we'll replace that back with some inner fender wells. Sort of may end up using some round section off of this, cutting it off and putting it in there, but we'll see how that works out. But everything else is going good. The rear end, you can see how far I ended up moving it back, and I just took the plasma, cut out what I needed for it. Like I said, we'll reinforce it back. I've just got one bolt holding it in. It's just back to the edge of the frame, basically, is where we ended up at. And all I did was move the pulley back, so a little longer belt, and we'll be done with that. So the drive system's not a problem, and I think it's working out pretty good. I'd love, it'd be nice if we kicked these out wider, but I don't want it too wide, because if he's, driving, especially through all these trees and stuff around here, because he's going to do it. If the wheels are sticking out, they'll grab pretty quick and hard. So we're just going to try to leave it in narrow. And I really didn't want it to be this long, but we only went back I guess a total of about 6 inches. And lawnmowers, the steering's pretty sharp on them anyway, so I don't think that'll be too bad. He'll still be able to maneuver. But anyway, let me get this cut out, get the body set down on, and I'll bring you back on. Okay folks, body's sitting down on it, cut out around it, hadn't grounded or anything, but looks pretty good. Starting to look like it's Model T instead of a heater. We'll keep at it. I'm going to make a windshield for this thing. I've got some conduit, and I've got a bender that's made, an old school bender that's made for conduit that will do a sharp bend. So we'll make a windshield and frame. I don't know if I'm going to make a single or go up higher and make the double like the old ones, but I really need to wait. I'm going to try and just see if that steering system that was on this at the see what angle it is, and see maybe if it will work on it. I'm not sure that it will. If it does, I could fix the steering. I'm going to pull these wheels back off. I'm actually fixed this tire. Well, I hadn't fixed it. I got it on the bead, but it's got a nail in it, so I got to plug it real quick. But I'm going to fix it. I'm going to stick these back on just to see if it looks better with the bigger ones on it. We're still going to try to lower the front down. So these, I've got something else I can use them on. If I don't use them on here, that's why I didn't mind going on and getting them. So I just wanted to see what they would look like, and I do like the tread on them and stuff, but yeah, I think they look too small too. Engine's so big. So we'll stick the other ones back on it and just see what it looks like, see if it looks any better. Got a lot of the stuff cleaned out from under it, stuff that don't need to be on it, and I don't know what is next. I don't have the rear end in permanent, so probably going to pull it into the shop after I stick the wheels on the front. I'm going to get it in the shop. I've got 2 bolts in the rear, so it's not going to move, and pull this body back off, which the body's so light you can lift it off and on, no problem. And then go ahead and try to get that rear end mounted in permanent and solid, and it shouldn't take too long. And I'll show you something on the bolts. Okay, first, it looks like our pulley's going to work. I got to do a little bit of clearance and stuff, but I said pulley, I mean our belt. This, I've got it loose, so it comes back far enough. It's hitting one of the bolts right here, which is not a problem to move, but we'll just change the angle of this, which actually is better because we've moved this back so far. So we're going to be able to use this same belt and everything, and that'll work out good. Now it looks like that both of these holes are stripped and that's why it wasn't bolted right here to this cross member. So we'll retap these, and looks like we can probably go up to 3/8 coarse thread, and then we'll make a bracket out, or probably a cross member all the way across, and bolt that back on, and then we got a little bit of straightening out here to do. And I've got a big piece of angle right here, and this is pretty heavy. I'll probably run the length of the frame underneath, just to strengthen everything up, so we don't have to take any chances on things bending and breaking. And this is pretty thin back here. It's not much of a system, and I think that's about it. We'll get the body flipped over and start doing some changing on it, making it some places where we can put it down and mount it. I want to bolt it on. I don't want to weld it on. So we got to take it off or at least lift it up to be able to get to the belts. Okay, folks, I went to a buddy of mine's house because I was out of tire plugs, and I was going to pick up a tire plug, actually for that screw that's in this tire. And while I was there, he said, "Well, I got some wheels that you can have if you want." And these are old scooter wheels, or hover around or something, but they the front ones, or these ones, will fit on without doing any machining. I'll just have to do some spacers, bring them in or out, whichever way. As you can see, they're a good size bigger than what was on it. They're aluminum rims that it could be cleaned up. The tires I don't care for because they're, I don't know, gray maybe, but they're foam filled, so I really don't want to change them. And now these were air tires, but evidently they had them foam filled, so we won't ever have to worry about flats on it. They used to make tire black, but we'll clean them up and see what we can make them look like, clean the rims up, and probably polish the rims out if we need, if we can, if we can get time. And the other thing is the other set, and you can see this foam filled inside. I just took the bolts out, took it right apart. Well, I think we can, if we do a little work for the valve stem, I think we can bolt these inside. That rim's just a thin plate, so we can go right through and drill it and bolt these inside and clean them up. I don't have it all the way in because of the valve stem, but clean them up, and then we'll have a matching set of front and rear wheels on it. We can paint the outside of this rim and then stick that on there after we polish it up some, and that ought to look pretty neat. So now we've got aluminum rims, or front aluminum, rear hubcaps maybe, I don't know what you want to call them, but I think that'll look nice. It won't take long to do. I can just machine a little groove out for that valve stem, and drilling them and bolting them on won't be a problem at all. And these, all we really need to do is clean them up and get some spacers together and put the cotter pins in, and they're done. So that worked out really good. So now I don't have any tire issues. These ones have been up for a long time and wasn't flat, so we don't have any issues with them. And then them are, like I said, foam filled, so we don't have to worry about them. And we'll have 2 extra foam fills left. As you can see on the rims, it says inflate to 35 pounds. And there's no valve stem, and like I said, they filled them with foam, so they're good to go. And they're plenty hard enough. I won't have to worry about a weight issue. It's not no soft foam, let's just put it that way. I think it looks a little better with that size on it. So, all right, keep working with it. Okay, we pressure washed it with the body off, and got everything clean and ready to go to push it into the shop and go wide open on working on it. I'm going to go ahead and get all the running gear, the frame, get the wheels polished up on the front, get the back pieces bolted on like I'm going to on the rims, and rear end in solid. And we may go ahead and start running the dual exhaust on it before we put the body on. Try to get everything done on the running gear, and it's going to look really good. And we're just going to live with them gray tires. They'll clean up some more than more than what I've done, but I like the size of them. Now I could go buy tires and put on them rims, but I would have to buy tubes, and really no reason to be spending money on something like that, just to change the color of it. So I would rather just leave them. They're foam filled. I'll never have to worry about a flat on the front of this thing, so that's good too, because you know how that goes. But anyway, let me get it in the shop and go to working on this the chassis and get it all finished up and done, and then we can start mounting the body. Okay, folks. Didn't get as much done as I'd like to get done, but that's the same way it works every day. But I think these wheels are going to work out good. I'm going to clean them up really good and then polish them, and then probably repaint the black, or maybe paint it red in there or something with a little brush. And the back ones are going to go okay. I'm just going to bolt that piece in there so they'll all match. They're just like saw blade rims is what they are, but it'll match front and back. And I've got all of our sort of subframe in it. It actually strengthens the frame, but it also gives me a place to mount the body. It's a good flat piece of angle. I ran out of red paint. I just had a little bit in spray can, but I want to paint the rest of it in any places that, you know, it's got rust on it. But what I did was I used these nuts. Now I bought probably a 5-gallon bucket full of them nuts. I just used them for spacers and welded them in, and then done my angle iron the way I wanted it. And we're going to run 1-inch square tubing cross members under the body, and it's actually recessed up in the back of the body. So we're going to run them 1-inch cross members, weld them in, and then run bolts all the way through them, and then down into our frame there. And that way the body can't move, come off. Rear end's all mounted in, finished up and done, and our length's right. I think next we can start mounting the body down on it. Don't see any reason why not. So the pedals, we're going to be able to run the pedal up through the floorboard and use the original setup. Now this had a cruise control lock on it right here, where it had a lever on it where you could push the pedal down and then set it. We're not going to use it because I don't, I want it to return to not moving when he lets off. And then the brake pedal has a safety switch for starting. And we've got to do some work on the brake because I don't think it's working. It's got a little tiny disc brake on the side of the transmission. And everything else is good. We've got that freed up so we can get this spring remounted where we need it. And then, like I said, the body's getting ready to go on. It cleaned up really good, and we're going to do whatever we need to do to these valves, whether they need adjusted or whatever's wrong with it. We'll jump that fence when we get to it. But anyway, more, and I think I'm gonna, if I get time, this will be some of the last stuff I do. I've got some little tiny coilovers. Now they're too stiff to actually use, but I may mount them on and mount them in a slide, and that way they actually don't work, but they're there and they look like they work. And so we may put them front and back. I've got just 2 red ones and 2 black ones. So I don't know if we'll be able to put them on the back and be able to see them. So if we can't, there's no use doing it. So anyway, we're going to get this project, like I said, knocked out as fast as we can, and we're going to try to get the truck knocked out as quick as we can, and then we are back on to something different. And I still want to get my 4-wheel drive wrecker up here and get on it. I've got a lot of the parts collected up that I need and want for it, so we'll get on it soon. But hope this don't bore you to death. It's not, a little bit out of the norm. I usually don't do much work like this, but sort of a special thing for me. Something that Graydon can have and hopefully have when I'm gone. So, but appreciate everybody watching, and till next time, bye.